Yeah, Cardiff as a university is very popular and very prestigious, but it's also really chilled. There's not sort of pomp and circumstance about it. It's a very down-to-earth uni, and you find that the people are really warm and really welcoming.
The students who showed us around, we spoke to some physios and they were really knowledgeable. They told us a lot about the course and kind of the positive aspects of it.
It has a great reputation for a start. The city itself, Cardiff, is really awesome. Got a great balance of what city life is, and it's very easy to find nature just outside of it, which is very nice when you want to have a quick little escape. And then the Cardiff University program is really cool as well. A few other reasons, maybe it's easy to find jobs in Cardiff, which as a student is very, very handy.
I just really liked the fact that it was kind of like a hospital-based campus, and I kind of spoke to some of the staff, one of which would then end up being my personal tutor, which was really nice. And you could see how passionate they were about teaching physio, and you could kind of just see that they had so much to give you and they had so much to learn, and they would really help you to become the best physio that you could be.
Before I even came, I knew I was going into good things.
I remember walking around and seeing other students who were already on the course going around in their uniforms, going around talking about their courses and being interested, and it really felt like what you were doing was being part of that process to go towards your profession.
Settling into the course was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. We met our personal tutors, and they're always available to answer any questions that we have. Our lecturers explained everything really well, and so the step up from A-levels was not nearly as bad as I thought it could be.
It is quite intense when you first start the physiotherapy programme, but the thing is, you're in uni so often and there's so many people, so you meet so many people within your first 2 weeks, and I had the chance to find out who I got along with, find people who I had so much in common with.
What really helped, and I would actually recommend, is making a group chat before you start the course itself. I recommend that because that meant we came in for the first day and it wasn't as daunting because we already knew some faces.
I find the support at Cardiff University really great because we know our lecturers really well. You'll always see people after lectures or after practical sessions going and asking questions, and I always feel welcome to ask whatever questions I need to, or if I'm worried about something, I know I can get that extra support.
Well, the lecturers at Cardiff are all very laid back. They also have personal tutors, which are very easy to access, easy to contact, easy to meet with when you need them. So, good amount of support at Cardiff Uni.
I've met with my personal tutor 2 or 3 times so far, and my personal tutor's been great. He's been really helpful.
If you have any bigger worries that you don't really feel like you can talk to students about, or if you don't want to ask them in a lecture theatre, you can go to your personal tutor, and I'm sure they'll help you out with that.
You've also got the physiotherapists at Cardiff Society, which they've got a really nice support program, and the third and second years support the first years as they come in, and then when you become a second year, you then support first year, and so on.
They have family groups put in place, so third years will be grandparents, second years will be parents, and first years, so where I am, are the children.
They can help you with any topics or modules that you're struggling with. Maybe they can even help you practice for your practical exam, and it's great. Also find that no matter what type of learner you are, you'll do well because there's essays, but there's also practical skills, and you'll excel in your department, and if you're not so good in the other one, well, you've got other things to bring you up.
What's really great is that all of the lectures are actually recorded, and we can access PowerPoints online, and so if you feel like you really need to go back and look at something again, it's very available. The library has lots of resources that we can use.
But yeah, got good support for the students. It's quite nice. It's a big cohort, got 140 students, but they're broken down into prac groups, so you always get quite close. The prac groups are broken down to about 28 people, so it's like little classes inside of a big cohort.
When you're in your groups, you normally have 2 lecturers with you, especially in practicals, and that way you get to know people, and those people you'll be working with for the whole 3 years, so you'll really get to know them well. It's only been about 6 months, and I'm already best friends with some of the people in my prac group.
And the practical sessions are really great. They're hands-on, and we can really see how the equipment works. Tutorial sessions allow us to take our work and bring it into a smaller group setting.
So in terms of placement, unfortunately I'm a first year, so I still haven't gone out on any, but I do know that the Cardiff University programme has more placements than any other physiotherapy programme in the UK. They're really pushing this year to get some of those placements to be abroad as well. So you get one chance, if you work for it, you can get one chance to do an abroad placement. It's got to be really cool. Little tip to anyone moving to Cardiff, get your hands on a normal bike, because it's the best way to get around the city.
One of my favourite things about Cardiff is the next bikes, because you can basically get half an hour free with the university and cycle all around the city, see some nice parks, go down to the bay, go see the castle.
So I find now in second year that there's that real variety between having our lectures, but then also bringing that in with our practical sessions that we do, which are in these sorts of rooms here, which are laid out as though you would be in a physio clinic.
And we do PPD sessions, which is when you mix in with the other healthcare professions and you get put in groups. So you meet new people, you learn a lot about different healthcare professionals that maybe you didn't know about beforehand, so that's kind of fun too.
We utilise these prep rooms for sessions where we look at real case studies, and we'll do this in small groups as a real sort of practical element, as opposed to working in our lecture theatres. And what we'll be doing in those small groups is working as patients, as physios and as supervisors, so we can work in small teams of sort of 3 or 4 to really simulate what it's going to be like in the real world, in the hospitals.
The library we have here is dedicated just to healthcare, so there's sort of a sense of everyone working towards a common goal, and it's also open 24/7 so that you can get access to study space or the resources you need any time of the week.
We've just had over the summer our new lecture theatre, LT1, on the first floor redone. But here with the 2 screens, and you've got these great sofas which are really good for sitting up and doing that group work as well as engaging with the lecture, all that kind of stuff. It's a really, really good improvement.
Cardiff's really good for listening to student feedback. As a student rep, I get the chance to listen to what everyone else in my cohort is saying about the course, whether that be positive feedback, stuff they've liked, or things that they think could be improved, and I get to then take that to the staff so that they can use that to keep improving the course.
All the placements are in Wales. My first language is Welsh, so I got to have some Welsh clinical educators, and also I got to speak Welsh with most of my patients, which was quite nice. It's nice for me and it's nice for them.
I think that we're quite lucky at Cardiff because we do kind of 8 4-week placements, and we kind of have the opportunity to go anywhere in Wales to do those placements, which at first may feel a little bit daunting, but it's so fun, and I think you learn so much from going all around Wales.
You get the experience and the challenge of living away but also being on placement, and you get to see lots of different varieties of patients, of practitioners, and it just opens your eyes to what real working life is. You get the opportunity to put yourself forward that, oh, I really am interested in spinal rehab or pediatrics, then you're listened to, and you often get a first choice of a speciality that you want to see.
The accommodation was really easy to sort out. You basically just said where you're going to be, what date, and then you emailed the people that sorts it out, and then they email you back saying where and when you need to show up, and then you've got the bed and kitchen and everything sorted for you.
And sometimes they say, oh no, this is commutable if you have a car, and then you say, right, okay, no problem, or anywhere outside of that margin, you will get accommodation. That might be in a B&B, it might be hospital accommodation, but that is all sorted for you. I think it's up to £55 a night you can get for accommodation, and you can choose to also find an Airbnb yourself, so that's your own responsibility.
You do get a lot of support kind of from uni, from your friends, and even if you are worried kind of about being a bit further away from Cardiff, if you're kind of living away from Cardiff on your placement, you are normally either with another student or there's one quite close by, and it kind of gives you an opportunity to kind of work with different people that you haven't worked with in uni, get to know other people, and also it kind of just helps you be a bit more independent, and I think that's really, really important, and it's nice to kind of have the opportunity to go and explore places with new people.
Lecturers come out and see you after 2 weeks of placement, which is a 4-week placement. They ask you how you are, they ask you if you've got any questions or if you're unhappy about anything.
And then with placement as well, it's not just in Wales, you have the opportunity to go either overseas or out of Wales, so you can actually do both of them as well if you really want to.
I went to a placement out in Sri Lanka for a month. Saw loads of different things, people, different backgrounds, different languages, different cultures. Everyone had a different perspective on how the healthcare works. I'd spent about 2 weeks in the general teaching hospital where I went on outpatients department, and then I went around the wards which specialised on burns, cardiorespiratory, after surgery. It wasn't as high tech as what it would be here. It was quite a shocking eye-opener really. And then I spent the other 2 weeks in the paediatric hospital where none of the children spoke English and most of the parents didn't speak English either. So that was quite difficult. But you were with a physiotherapist and they just talked everything through with you and they just translated everything.
Through that I was able to go to Nepal last November, and I went with a company called Work the World, and they work heavily with the university to promote going abroad and experiencing physio in other cultures and other countries. Work the World primarily are invested in sort of developing countries, so you're not likely to go to Canada or America or New Zealand, Australia. It's more Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Mexico, and then I went to Nepal.
I just think that the kind of wide variety of placements that we are then able to kind of have experience in is so good for us whilst we're learning, but then also really good when you go for kind of applying for jobs and going for job interviews, because it will set you apart from other people if you've had so many different experiences and had experience in different specialities.